There we go. Good evening. Good evening to all of you. I am Margarita Estrada, and today I will be your Toastmaster. I also serve as chair of the Omni-Pro Speakers Bureau of Toastmasters District 83. This is the final leg of the 2022 and U series. I will share the agenda so that you can see what this evening is going to look like. This is our agenda. First, our Sergeant at Arms will read the.
I'll take her place for that.
Okay. Cindy Wilson, who is our treasurer, will read the club mission. Our president, Nancy Rogers, will deliver the presidential introduction and will acknowledge any district dignitaries and will also deliver district announcements. Our VP of Education, Shawnette Lewis, will deliver the inspirational thought. I will then introduce our speaker for today. Our speaker will deliver his message. Our table topics will be Cindy Wilson. And then I'll take over from there and hand over the evening to our president, Nancy Rogers. All right. Oh, wait a minute, I should have kept it on. Right. So Cindy, could you please call the meeting to order and read our club mission?
Welcome everyone to the Impact 21 meeting, a special meeting that we're having today with a special speaker. Our club mission is that we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. I give to you our Toastmaster of the day, Margarita Estrada.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you so much. Next, our president will acknowledge your presence and she will deliver any district announcements. Nancy Rogers.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really excited about tonight. I've been hearing about Isaak since I started Toastmasters, and I just recently had the privilege of meeting him and looking forward to what he's going to be bringing us tonight. I'd like to say welcome to all of our guests that have joined us today. Thank you so much for coming, and Shawnette for inviting all the people that you invited. I'd like to say thank you to Dejuana for coming and all of our other guests. And I don't have any announcements. I just like to say thank you for coming, and I'm excited about this evening, excited to hear what Isaak is going to be bringing us today. And I know we're gonna have a great meeting. Back to you, Margarita.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you so much for delivering your presidential message. Next, our VP of Education, Shawnette Lewis, will deliver the thought of the day.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As we go into this 2022 year, and we are inspired to be the best of the best. My inspirational thought: if you find yourself in a little midweek or midday slump, take a few moments to re-energize yourself with these thoughts for some of the world's greatest thinkers. Sometimes all it takes is a little reminder to boost your spirits and refocus your day. So live life the way you want. Face the challenges without any fear, and with all your, and then only you, will be able to achieve the goals in your life. You want to have a positive mindset towards life. My second quote: dream your dream with your eyes closed, but live your dreams with your eyes open. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Shawnette. Hold on a second, please. Yes, Beverly, Isaak is already spotlighted. He already has the little pin on there, so he is already spotlighted. And now we begin our special event. We will get to know a little bit about Isaak before he begins his talk. Steve Jobs said, the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of the generation that is to come. Our speaker for tonight and his story tells us a powerful testimony about struggle and how to overcome those circumstances. Isaak Gelbinovich, president of Speaking to Succeed, a distinguished Toastmaster, and member of the Omni-Pro Speakers Bureau, came to this country with his family in 1980. He spoke no English. Isaak took English as a second language at the Baruch College of the City of New York, where he made a decision that his language barrier would not hold him back. Since then, he has taught classes at the Chubb Institute of Technology, the Learning Annex, and has delivered workshops in Europe and the United States. In addition, he has appeared in off-Broadway plays and on television programs. Isaak Gelbinovich is a published author of the book, Conversations Made Easy, How to Speak to Anyone for Pleasure or for Profit. He is a professional speaker, lecturer, workshop leader, and is a certified presentation coach. Audiences have said that Isaak has the unique ability to take complicated concepts and break them down in a simplified form so that then they can take what they have learned and use it in their everyday life. Tonight, Isaak is going to talk about that question that leaves us in awe and fear. What if? Please help me welcome Isaak Gelbinovich. What if?
Well, after introduction like this, I mean, I feel a lot of pressure, you know. Margarita said I didn't speak a word of English. I still don't. So that's how I go by, without speaking. But on a serious note, we all live with COVID. The big, scary, ugly, dangerous COVID. What if it's with us forever? Do you have a plan? What if it's over by the end of the year? Do you have a plan? What if it's over by the end of summer? Do you have a plan? Because as the saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you're waiting to get back to normal, you may be waiting forever because we're not getting back to normal. We're going forward to normal. How about that thought? Why going back? Why not to go forward? See, every calamity in the world changed the world forever. Sometimes there is no going back. Our reality is what we have today. Zoom meeting, virtual meeting. But it's a live meeting. We are alive and we're having meeting live. Some people say, well, it's not real. I'm waiting to be person to person. It's fine. I'm waiting to be person to person also. I love to be person to person. I love to see your eyes. I love to get the energy of the room. But I'm not sitting there waiting forever because life doesn't wait for you. There is another saying, life goes on, and it does, with you or without you, it goes on. So if you're waiting for something, standing on the sidelines, the life passes you by, and it's bye-bye. It doesn't come back. So instead of waiting, why not to participate? Why not to embrace what we have? What if If you don't embrace, you're missing it. What if you're missing a big part of your life? Because we became Toastmasters for a reason, each and every one of us. And there was a reason when we joined the Toastmaster, but now we kind of lost the perspective, some of us. We're not attending meetings, we're waiting. And like I said, life doesn't wait, it goes by. In my plan, the first item is health. It's health. And I mean physical health, mental health, and financial health. It's all health. Why did I start with physical health? Because if something hurts, everything else out of place. When you wake up in the morning and you cannot get out of the bed, you're in trouble. Yes, I'm a little overweight. Well, scratch a little, a lot overweight. But I'm working on it. It's in the plan. There is a saying about COVID pounds. I'm not sure about COVID pounds. I had some pounds before COVID. Now I have them, still have them, but I'm working on dropping them. I'm not using the word losing because when I lose, I find it again. I drop it and don't pick it up. It's all here. But that's a physical health. Another one, eating right. That's what I'm trying to do. Actually, not trying, I'm doing it. Exercising, not so much, but I promise to start. See, it's like I make a declaration in a live meeting, so now I have to do it. Because it's recording, it says, Isaac, you remember you promised and you didn't do it? You said it's in the plan? So now I have to work the plan. That's a physical part. Mental part. Did you hear the word Zoom fatigue? Yeah, I see some of you nodding your heads. Yeah, Zoom fatigue. People get tired of Zoom. They're sitting in front of the computer all day long. Well, I was doing it in my professional life also. I was a computer programmer for 26 years. I was sitting in front of a computer anyway. But now it's meetings in front of a computer, work in front of a computer, entertainment, everything is in front of a computer. So we're getting sick and tired of computers. And then somebody's asking us to come to the Toastmaster meeting also on a computer. Come on, give me a break. But that's the break. This is the break. Because it's something different. I saw the reaction when people were joining in. It was joy. It's like, hey, hi, nice to see you. How are you? How are you doing? That's how we meet. If we cannot hug each other, at least we can say, hey, how are you? You look good. You're smiling. I see you. You see me. That's the joy. That's why we became Toastmasters in the first place, to have this community. What if you're losing this community? It will move on. And then all of a sudden, this time that you were dedicating to Toastmasters is filled with something else. And there is no time. And you're just not there anymore. What if? Think about it. Think about it. Another part of mental health is keeping your game up. What do I mean by that? Margarita said that I'm a storyteller. Yes, I am. I'm proud of it. But when I started with Toastmasters, I never thought of myself as a storyteller. I said, well, I'm a regular guy with a heavy Russian accent. I cannot even speak English properly. What can I contribute? And then people said, Isaac, it's an interesting story. Say it again. Tell us again. Then I started studying storytelling. And now, like, I have to keep my game up. How do I do that? By meeting you nice people, by talking to you, by presenting to you. Before the meeting, we met with the executive committee of the club sponsoring us today, and we had a little discussion. And one of my questions was, what would you like me to mention in the in my presentation? And the answer was presentation skills. How about touching on presentation skills? No problem. My friend and partner in the Speakers Bureau, Mario Lewis, he's master of presentation skills. If you didn't hear his presentation, you missed a lot. Okay, I hope it was recorded. My forte is storytelling. Also part of presentation skills, but a little niche, storytelling. What if I ask you, tell me a story? I ask you, tell me a story. What will be your response? A lot of times I hear respond, what story? Well, if I knew your stories, I wouldn't be asking. And I don't know your stories, and only you can tell your story because it's your story. So a lot of times I ask, tell me a story, and people kind of like shy away. I don't know any stories. I don't have any stories. No. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And only you can tell your story because just like I said, it's your story. Now, if you know simple techniques of storytelling, you can tell any story anytime. Technique number one, which I keep for years now, story file. What's that? What the hell is story file? It's a simple folder in my computer with Word files, Word documents. I have, I don't know, like 35, 45 of them already there. What I do is when I hear an interesting story, I make a note and I put it there and it stays there. I review it once in a while. When I have a presentation, I review my story file. And believe me, amazingly enough, I find pertinent stories which I put in 15 years ago. They're still pertinent today. Yeah, life changed, we changed, but the message, the idea doesn't change much. And the best way of anchoring your message or idea is a story. Story, the best way. I was, a long time ago, I was at officers training in Manhattan. I belong to two districts, 83 and 46. Well, now they split, but still doesn't matter. I was there and I was standing, registering at the desk, and the young lady stopped and said, I know you. I don't know your name, but I remember your story. I said, I'm Isaac. I'll give you my name. But it's the best compliment to a speaker. She remembered my story 6 months after I delivered it. It's amazing how the power of a story. Now, what's the structure? Story has few elements. Some of them, we're not going to discuss all of them, but I'm going to mention some of them, like characters. Story has to have characters. Then it has conversation in dialogue. Then it has a conflict. And then it has carried out message or resolution. Few things. Characters, conversation in dialogue, conflict, and message or resolution. Now, how do you describe a character? It can be one sentence, one word, or a lengthy description, depending on importance of the character. You may have living characters and non-living characters. In one of my speeches, which I like a lot, and it was a humorous speech, and one of the characters was a chairlift, because I was talking about my skiing experience. So I got in a chairlift and it became a character in my speech. Another one was my skis, because I was on the skis going downhill. So it became a character in my speech. And my friends, my wife, and all these characters were in my speech. Again, some of them were described in one word, and some of them were described more extensively. Like my friend was described, my friend Gene, expert skier. That's it. That's all I said. Because for the story, it was enough. My wife was described as very smart woman. because she did something smart and I did something stupid. She was much smarter than me. Okay, so that's how we do. We can give names, we can give voices, but don't get carried away with voices. Okay, people do understand who you're talking about. With simple turn of the head, you can distinguish characters. Then we have a conversation in dialogue. That's very important. If you just delivering like she said, I said, she said, I said, it becomes a report. Becomes a report. It's not a story anymore. But if you deliver it as a dialogue, as interaction between two people, then you are there and you bring your audience into the story along with you. That's dialogue. That's the power of dialogue. And another, how to say it, advantage of dialogue is there is a lot of time there is humor in dialogue. Humor is a very important part of the presentation, delivering, and speeches. Do not embed humor. Find humor in the story. Intertwine humor in your story. Then it becomes funny and it becomes part of the story. Then conflict. Conflict is also very important because without conflict, it becomes a dull, very lame story. How do you build the conflict? As an escalator, not as an elevator. It doesn't go from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. No, it goes up. Okay? Gradually, you're building up the conflict. And then when you reach the top, the peak, resolution. Okay? Resolution can be anything. Advice, something good, something bad, whatever resolution is in this particular case. Okay? So these are the elements of a good story. And keep the story file and tell your story. Keep telling your stories. Because like I said, the best anchor for a message is a story. And people do remember your stories. Even the funniest part is that actually when people hear the story, they say, you know, the story I heard, say it again. I love it. And they look and listening it with the same pleasure as the first time. That's the power of the story. Do you have any questions?
Isaac, yes, I do have a question.
Okay.
You said that to build conflict as an escalator. Could you give us an example of that? The building conflict as an escalator?
Okay. Yeah, of course. How important your hair is to you?
Very.
See people smile. Yeah, because it's excluding some of us. It's a very important part of our identity. Okay, Louis, Mario, I'm not talking about us. We're okay. So, but on a serious note, my mom started losing her hair. So much so that she was ashamed to get out of the room. She was ashamed to go on the street. She had to order a wig to wear it, to go out. She would stop women on the street asking, you have such a good hair. What shampoo are you using? I said, Mom, it's embarrassing. Shut up. I said, Mom, I'm losing my hair since I'm 20. You're a man. You don't understand. It was intense. Okay. So I started reading it. I started reading about it. I mean, she was miserable. So I started reading about it, and I found somebody who gave a testimonial about the same issue, losing her hair. And she used the shampoo. So I bought the shampoo for my mom. And I introduced it to her. And she said, no. I have my shampoos. It's like a whole battery of shampoos, like about 15 different shampoos standing in a bathroom. I said, Mom, just use it. I'm not charging you. You don't like it, I'll take it back. Okay, just use it for a week, for 2 weeks. I read good testimonials about it. Again, it was back and forth. Finally, she said, okay, I'm going to use it. She did for a week, then for a month. And about In a month and a half, she stopped losing her hair. In about 3 months, she had full head of hair again, and she threw out her wig. Here's the conflict and resolution.
Mhm.
Now, I'm telling this story when I want to sell something. Would you buy this shampoo for me? Ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Especially people who are losing their hair.
Yes.
And the funniest part is that I didn't even tell you about who's making it, what's the name of it, who's the producer. No. And I'm selling by using a story, a personal story about my mom. That's another suggestion about storytelling. Tell your personal story. Number of reasons. Reason number one, nobody else can tell this story. It's your personal story. You live through it. Reason number two, you live through it. You don't have to prepare too much because you know the story. You were there, like I was there when my mom stopped people on the streets. Okay. The third one, it's unique. It's unique. It's yours. So that's the reason why you need to tell your personal stories. And you can tell it anytime, anywhere, for any reason. Any reason. To entertain, to inspire, to lead, to sell. Power of the story. Any other questions?
Isaac, you mentioned in the resolution, it could be advice, it could be something bad, it can be something good. Should the resolution be bad, and what example would that, could you give that makes sense? Because I know most people want to hear a positive outcome in the resolution. So at what point would it be a good idea to have a bad resolution as opposed to a good one?
Okay. A good advice is to start saving when you're young. How do you save? I'll put $1 away every day. I know you're not going to do it. Did it sting? I'm actually instigating the how to say, the notion, or I'm trying to sting a little bit and telling you that you're not going to do it. The resolution will not be good. You're not going to save anything. Now, why am I doing it? To make you prove me wrong. I'll be happy if you prove me wrong. Now, at the end, it may be good if you prove me wrong. But what if you won't? What if? Okay, so that's, I don't know if it's a very good example. It's just like from the top of my head, but that may be as an example. Now, a good resolution, like I told you about my mom, it ended very well. Okay, so most of the time, of course, most of the time, it will be a positive resolution, positive. But sometimes it's not, unfortunately. Life is full of surprises. Full of surprises.
Jitu has a question also.
Yes.
Right.
Well, thank you. I think Mario also, or some others. But my question is, you said that do not embed humor, something like this. Intertwine humor. And now for people like me, it's very difficult to do that. Because, so do you have any techniques there, or any books or any suggestions of how to intertwine humor in the story?
Okay. First of all, say G2. First of all, G2, my sincere belief is that we shouldn't put ourselves down ever. You just said, for me, it's very difficult. You may be making it difficult. Okay, maybe. I'm not saying, because I don't know you personally well enough to say anything for sure. But again, from what I hear, my thought is that you're putting yourself down. Don't do it. There will be plenty of other people who will do it for you with great pleasure. Okay, number one. Number two, how to intertwine. I just gave you a suggestion, like in a dialogue. When you're bringing dialogue into the story, you can find humor in it. When I said do not insert humor, I meant like sometimes people say, let me tell you a joke. Well, it's not a stand-up comedy. It's a different genre, okay? Even if it's a humorous speech, it's not a stand-up comedy routine. It's a humorous speech. So to tell a joke, it may not work, number one. Number two, when people say, oh, I'm gonna tell you a joke, you're gonna die from laughing. Then they tell a joke and nobody's laughing. It's like, oops. Now, I don't know why people are not laughing, because maybe they didn't understand the joke, or maybe delivery was not good. Many, many reasons. Okay, so it's hard to say until you're there and you listen and you hear it and you know what's going on. But to tell a joke in the middle of the speech, you got to be very careful. It has to be right on the target, and it has to be delivered like no flaws, flawlessly. Okay, so that's why I don't do that. I don't tell jokes. But when I talk, when I deliver stories, in gestures, in dialogue, there is humor, and people laugh. People laugh. You can even deliver a humor in your gestures, with your body language, with your facial expression. And it doesn't have to be always a laughter. It can be a smile. It doesn't have to be ha, 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 ha. No, just a smile. It's enough. Like you're smiling now, you see? So it's already humor. It already lightens up the speech. That's how it's done. So work on it. And there are books, I cannot recall from the top of my head any particular books, but if you go into mighty Google and you just type in humor, you will find a lot of things, not comedy, humor, different things, okay? I'm sure you're gonna find something for you. And just kind of like study it a little bit, but don't overstudy, use it, start using it. And stop telling yourself that you cannot do that. See, another suggestion is one of my favorite phrases. Instead of saying, I cannot do that, ask yourself, how can I do that? And our wonderful brains, they're wonderful. It's amazing machine inside of our heads. It'll find a way. It'll find a way, one way or another, it'll find a way. How can I do that? And all of a sudden, you see possibilities, you see opportunities. It's right there in front of you. You never saw them before. But now you say, how? And our brain starts searching for it. It starts looking for it. And all of a sudden we see it right there in front of us. Amazing. Any other questions?
Isaac.
Yes.
I still remember your humorous contest and you learning to ski speech. And I think I heard it the first time maybe about 12 years ago. I'm curious, in the 12 years, how did you said you used the ski lift as a character within the speech? You know how much I think about character development. Can you just refresh me and just help the audience show how you can use even inanimate objects as characters within your speech?
Okay, Mario, only for you. I came to this country in 1980. 1983, I got married. And shortly after that, one of my friends says, Isaac, we're going to ski. Would you like to join us? I never skied before in my life. I was born and raised in Georgia, the country, not the state. So it's always south. And I've seen snow 5 times in my life, 2 of them on a picture. So downhill skiing wasn't one of my sports activities. So, well, it was interesting idea. It was interesting invitation. So yeah, why not? So my young wife and I decided to join them, and we went to Killington, Vermont. 6 mountains, hundreds of trails, and me in my rentals, ready to conquer the mountain. Well, I'm a first-time skier. What the first-time skier does, signs up for a lesson. But my friend said, Isaac, you don't need a stinking lesson. Let's go up the mountain. I'll teach you everything you need to know. Oh, he's an expert skier. So I said, okay. So I said, what if I want to slow down? I said, no problem. You just do whoosh and you slow down. It's okay, looks simple. So we're getting on a chairlift, and chairlift for you non-skiers, it's a contraption, takes you up the mountain. And I mean up. It's one way. But I'm a first-time skier, I have no any idea. So I'm sitting in the lift, in chairlift, and enjoying myself, going up and up and up. And now I have to get off of this thing. And my friend says, Isaac, don't worry about it. Just push it off. Don't push you. It pushed me. It pushed me. See, on the top of the mountain, there was a little slope. And on the bottom of the slope, there was a puddle of water. Icy cold water. I can see it's icy cold because ice floating in it. And everybody kind of goes whoosh around it, and I just whooshed into it. So here we used chairlift, puddle of water, ice. They're all characters in the story, non-life. But my friend was very much alive. He's also a character. So it was a 7-minute speech. And as Mario mentioned, it was in my humorous speech contest, my first contest ever. Since we're talking about contests, just by show of hands, who participated, who competed in competitions, in Toastmaster competitions? Well, practically everybody. Okay, everybody who's here, beautiful. Some of you didn't raise your hands, so I'm going to talk to you. You know who you are. I joined Toastmasters in 2005. Yes, 2005, beginning of the year. And then I presented in my club. It was my 5th speech. It was an old curriculum. There was no pathway yet. So my 5th speech, Your Body Speaks. It's about body language. It's about movement. And I just picked the speech kind of naturally, talking about body language, about movement, my skiing experience. And that was the start of the speech. And then I presented in my club. I won my club competition. And everybody said, go to the area. What? What do you mean area? I don't even know what you're talking about. So go, you're good. So it's hilarious. So, okay, I went to the area. Now, area consists of 5 clubs. And they don't like you because they're not your friends. They judge you. There is no evaluation. There is no feedback. It's a judgment. Okay? So I presented my speech at the area and I won the area. Now I'm going to division. Now, division contains 5 areas. And each competitor is a champion. They're all area champions. So now I'm competing at division. I almost didn't make it because we got lost. I said, okay, I'm going home. And my friend said, no. I said, you're going to the competition. You're not going home. So we came there. I presented my speech and I won again. Wow, look at me. Now I'm going to district. And at the time, district was New Jersey and New York and Long Island. So we're talking about 250 clubs, close to 2,500 people. So it was a huge area, huge district. And there were 10 divisions. So each division has a winner. And we competing, and there are 10 people competing at the district. And I was one of them. And again, I presented my speech. People laughed, people loved it. And then the contest chair announces that he said the 3rd place, the 2nd place. And then he says, I would love to go skiing with Isaac. And my wife goes, you won, go. I said, what are you talking about? He wants to ski with me. Go, you won. So I went up and I won the district. Just like, I'm telling you, just like this. It was, I didn't know much what I was doing. Because the speech is on YouTube, as a matter of fact. If you type in my name, you may find the speech. But when I look at the speech and I look at my presentations now, it's like day and night. Very different. The body language, the gestures, but it was enough to win the district. because the delivery was fun, people laughed, and it was a message there. There was a message. It was a story with a message, and the message was simple. Doesn't matter if you're advanced skier, I mean, beginner, intermediate, or advanced, take a lesson.
Not really.
And learn. Because I'm still, well, I'm not skiing anymore, but I was taking lessons up until the last day I was skiing. So take a lesson and enjoy yourself. And that was my message. Don't stop learning. Keep learning. So from that point on, I decided that I can do something better. I can do something bigger than just the club presentations. And I decided to do more professional speaking, more presentation. Then, again, for people who didn't do it yet, apply for a workshop presenter. We're having conference soon. They will ask, there will be a call for workshop presenters. Apply for it and see how you can go from 5 to 7 minute speech to 45 minutes presentation. Huh? How about that challenge? Can you do that? What if I ask you, can you do a 45-minute presentation? Can you do a full day presentation? Can you do 2 days presentation? I know I can. Why? Because I've done it. I've done it. So until you do it, you don't know. You don't know, but try. Don't shy away from it. Try. You never know. You never know. My first presentation, my first workshop presentation was on presentation skills. And the feedback was, well, Isaac, I could have read the Toastmasters manual and get the same information. Ouch. Ouch. But I didn't give up. My, well, I don't know, nth presentation was, the feedback was, well, if you bring this guy back, I'm going to join the conference. Very different. How? Working on it. Keeping your game up. Keeping your game up. Practicing. And the only way to practice is in the club. People say, well, practice in front of the mirror. When I start practicing in front of the mirror, I said, oh, gee, do I look fat? No, I don't like myself when I look in the mirror. And just take, it's very disruptive for me. What I do is record audio and video. Then it's painful sometimes. It's very painful, people, but you have to watch it because that's how we learn. The best way, of course, is to have somebody who can tell you, hey, you're doing this, this, and this, who knows what they're doing, what they're talking about. But if you don't have somebody like that, record yourself and then try it. And then get a feedback from a live audience because Zoom meetings are live. We're all alive now. It's not a recorded presentation. And if I stumble, mumble, and fumble, you can hear it live. So what did I do before my presentation? I prepared. I worked on it. It's turning in my head for 24/7, nonstop. Yeah, oh, that's a good idea. Let me edit. I edited. That's how it works. You work on it. It doesn't come, I don't know, like from the sky. No, we all work on it. And that's how it's done. Any other questions?
Isaac, I have one more.
Yes.
So some people are afraid of using humor because they're afraid that what if I bomb, right? What if I mess up? Have you ever had instances where you bombed, and how did you recover after using humor that didn't work?
Well, I bombed not because of humor. I'll tell you when I bombed. The way I teach, the way I actually teach presentation skills is, the way I was taught is to find out about your audience. Know your audience. Because if you know your audience, you can deliver better presentation. So I was working in New Jersey at the UBS, United Bank of Switzerland, and as a programmer, and they had a program called Big Brother. And I was one of the big brothers. I'm a good student. I practice what I preach. I asked the organizer who's going to be there, age, gender. I was told it's going to be 11th, 12th grade, boys and girls. So fine. Okay, so I prepared my presentation for that. I'm walking into the room. It's 9th, 10th grade, girls only. I have nothing against girls, but my presentation wasn't geared for the girls only audience. And every example I gave was like, huh? What are you talking about? It wasn't flexible enough. I wasn't experienced enough at the time. Mind you, I was like a Toastmaster for about a year or so. I wasn't experienced enough. I couldn't adjust. And believe me, about a minute into my talk, I sincerely hope that the floor will open and swallow me and close above me. So I was just gonna get away from this misery. I bombed miserably, miserably bombed. Now, did I stop presenting? No. What did I do? I learned my lesson. What's the lesson? Be flexible, Isaac. Be flexible, because you never know who may be in the audience. You never know. So you have to be flexible. You have to prepare module speeches, module presentations. So you can take a module, put it all together, and it becomes a full presentation. I was teaching at Learning Annex. I don't know if you know about Learning Annex, but it's organization that gives, it used to give in-person lectures and classes, a lot of them. But one of the conditions for the presenters were, we were not supposed to know our audience. I couldn't contact them. I couldn't collect any information about them. The audience or the participants were property of Learning Annex. So I signed a paper that I'm not allowed to find out anything about the audience before my presentation. So imagine that I'm walking to a room with about 60 people who I know nothing about. Nothing. So what do? I start asking questions. Okay, what kind of questions? Well, I don't even remember right now, but there were some questions that pertinent to my presentation. And by the answers or by show of hands, I kind of gauged what kind of audience I had. And in the Learning Annex, I had anybody from 20 to 70 in age, and all the genders and all the races. Well, people wanted to hear the presentation, they would show up. That's it. And I learned not to be afraid of my audience. I can present to any audience nowadays. No problem. I learned to do that. And thanks to Learning Annex, they taught me that. Because like I said, you're walking into a room, you know nothing about your audience. And you cannot even find out if you want to. What do? You adapt, you adjust. You feed off the audience. You feed off the audience. Any other questions?
Yes, I do have a question. So
Please.
you talked about using our story during speech. So my question is it a good practice to use other people's story in our speech? And if yes, how can we do that?
Actually, very good question. Very good question. And yes, it's appropriate to use other people's stories in your presentation, but please know more about the person than just the story. What I mean by that? Let's say for argument's sake, you're using, I don't know, our President Lincoln story. Okay, how he failed like 52 times, and he was, and then he became a president and one of the greatest presidents of the history of the United States, and all this thing. So you need to know about Lincoln more, just that he was president during the Civil War, and he was against slavery. No, it's just a part of it. You need to know his life from the beginning to the end. Then you can use this story in your presentation, in your speech. Now, what's the message? Well, don't give up. Don't quit. Keep on persevering. That may be a message. Because like I said, he was defeated like 52 times, and then he became one of the greatest people in the history of the world. Definitely the United States. Okay, so that's the way to use other people's stories. It may not be such a dramatic person like Lincoln. It may be anybody else. It may be your relatives. I use story of my grandpa. In one of my speeches, I'm mentioning my grandpa, and I'm telling his story. Like he immigrated from Hungary, like he went through World War II. So that's what and it was told because I said he's a wise man. He was a very wise man because he lived very difficult life. He had difficult experiences in his life, and these were the experiences. So I mentioned my grandpa, but I know much more about my grandpa, believe me, than just these 3 sentences. So yes, you could use it. And like I said, you need to know about the person you use, whose story you're using. Okay? Did I answer your question?
Yes,
I have one.
Who's saying? Who's talking?
I have one, but I think
Yes,
someone
yes,
else came in
please.
too.
That's Nancy. I think that's Nancy.
Yes, Nancy.
Thank you, Isaac. So you mentioned that we have to keep your game up. And you mentioned that you do that by recording yourself and practice and editing. Are there any other tools that you apply to keeping your game up? Are there any books that you read? Are there any people that you listen to? What other tools, if any, you use to keep your game up?
Since 2006, I invested, again, it's not a brag, I'm just giving you facts. I invested about $80,000 into the education. What kind of education? Workshops, conferences, tons of literature. Yeah, I have like, I don't know, shelves with literature about speaking, about presentation skills. And I did read them. They're not just standing there. I did read them. I did use it. Margarita mentioned book, Conversations Made Easy. That was my topic in Learning Annex. Before I gave this class, it was 3.5-hour class, like a half-a-day class, if you think about it. I read probably a couple of dozen books on conversations, how to work a room, body language, all these materials were put in my head and then put on a paper. Yes, the answer to your question, yes, and yes. Now, who do I listen to? I have few people that I listen to and I respect them. And some of them, you know, like our world champions of public speaking, for example, Craig Valentine, Darren LaCroix, Ed Tate. I do have their tapes. I know them personally. They know me personally. I took their workshops. I'm sometimes we're still in touch, not a lot, but everybody's busy nowadays, but we're still in touch. They know about me, I know about them. So that's who I listen to. That's who I consider my mentors and my teachers, okay? Some of them don't even know that they're my teachers. Like I love all these famous speakers who can get on stage and just deliver. I know what stands behind it, but it's actually pleasant to see how people can deliver a speech or presentation. And unfortunately, nowadays, I do not listen to the presentations, I analyze them. Okay, everything I see and listen to, it's like, okay, I know that. Okay, that's technique, that's this, that. It takes away a little bit, but still I enjoy it. Okay, so that's another level. And what else I don't do is, what I don't do is I do not write my speeches from the start. I know Mario does it. He's like genius in that area. I'm not. However, what I do is I deliver my speech verbatim. And I try to do it in front of the audience. Doesn't matter, live, I mean, in person or virtually, I just deliver my speech verbatim and I record it. And then I transcribe it, word for word. Everything goes on paper, full transcription. And believe me, it's not pretty. Oh, it's not pretty. But then I start cleaning it. One of the examples, I did competition, one of my competition speeches. When I did the transcript, I saw that I said the same phrase 5 times, one after another. I said, my God, did I do that? Oh yes, my friend, you did it. It's recorded. It's right there on a tape. Why is it valuable? Because now I see what I did and what I shouldn't have done. Then I start cleaning. So of course, I removed 4 of these 5 times. Then I start cleaning more and more. And then what you do is then you start putting it, how to say it, clean it up enough to be 5 to 7 minutes. Because my initial speech was 9.5 minutes. Too much. Okay? Like I said, 5 times the same thing is too much. In any case, a lot of it was not necessary. It didn't add to the story. So you remove it. You remove it and remove it. Or you may change few words and it covers 3 sentences instead of with 3-4 words. Okay? So bravery. Bravery is very important. So if you can, not if, when you can do that, when you do that, forget about can, when you do that, then you start practicing again, and again, and you will still clean it up. You will still clean it up. My speech that I delivered, my most recent in-person speech was, well, 3 years ago, right? 2 years ago. It was about, what was it about? Oh, change, the change. The title of the speech was The Change. And I was talking about changes in, like major changes in my life, life-changing experience or life-changing change, 3 of them. And when I was delivering it at the area, at a division, at a district, it was 3 different speeches, but it was the same speech. Do you hear me? It was 3 different speeches, but it was the same speech. Now, why am I saying it? Because I was working on it constantly, nonstop. And from time to time, it changed so much that it was like a little different than previous time. I think it was better because, again, I went up to district. Then I tanked. Why? Because yours truly didn't record himself. I didn't. First time, I didn't record myself to see how do I look on stage. I thought I got it. Somebody did record me and they put it on YouTube. And when I saw myself, I said to myself, Isaac, if I was a judge, I wouldn't pick you. I wouldn't pick myself if I was a judge. There was no energy in my speech. No energy. Because people were telling me, slow down. You have an accent. It's hard to understand. When you speak fast, it's hard to understand. Slow down. So I slowed down so much that it just took away, sucked out the whole energy from my speech. It was like, and that's it. And I didn't place. Rightfully so. The contest was good. Content was good. Delivery sucked. So how do you improve content? By editing. How do you improve delivery? By watching yourself and showing to others. People, like I said, people who know what they're talking about. Like in my club, I know that I can definitely show to Margarita, definitely show to Cindy, definitely show to Mario. I know I will get proper feedback, the one that I need. And they're not gonna spare my feelings. Now, they know that I have no feelings, so it's okay. They said no. But on a serious note, at a certain level, you don't need what you do well. I know what I do well. I need what I don't do well. How can I fix it? How can I improve my game? How can I up my game? That's what I need.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. Does anybody else have any other questions before we move forward? No, I guess
I have one more.
Yes, please.
One more. Okay, who's asking the G2? Go ahead, G2.
So Isaac, you said you have a story file, let's say files, 35, 40 files. That's a good number. How long are they? And what do you consider a story? How complicated, how long, or how many stages can a story have for a Toastmaster speech?
it's like a very loaded question. Okay, so let's start one at a time, one step at a time. How long is the file? There is no answer to it. Why? Because some files are just one sentence. You see, it's not for anybody to read, it's for me. So if I can remember what I was talking about or what happened with one sentence, that will be one sentence there. Okay? For example, when I deliver my conversations presentation, I mentioned my daughter a lot. Okay, she was in college, she was studying to be a journalist, and I mentioned her a lot. And one of the examples I give is that when you are having a conversation, your partner of the conversation has to be willing to participate. Okay. Now, what's the example? I was picking up my daughter from the bus terminal in Manhattan, and she was visiting from Boston. So it was like about 10:30 at night or 10 o'clock at night. So I met her, we got in the car, and she said, oh, by the way, Daddy, I got my B+ on media law and ethics course. Oh, Rosie, what do they teach you in media law and ethics course? The answer was media law and ethics, Dad. So obviously she was not participating. So I started digging. I started asking another question, and finally we had a very lively and nice conversation on the way home. Okay. Now, what do I have in my story file? One line: media law and ethics, Dad. That's all I need, and I will remember right away what it was about. Okay. So that's the whole file with one line. Now, a different example. There is a saying that people do business with people they like, they know, like, and trust. It's a saying. So when I bring the saying up, I say, okay, we had accounts in like 3 banks, major financial institutions with similar benefits. So one day I said to my wife, honey, let's get a loan. We wanted to buy something. I don't even remember what it was. And I said, which bank you want to go to? She said, no, let's go see Michelle. Michelle was an account manager in one of the banks. We didn't go to the bank. We went to Michelle. Why? Because we were comfortable with her. We liked her. Every time we met, we had a little chit chat. We knew she had two girls. She knew we had one daughter. So it was convenient. So we went to see Michelle, the person we knew, liked, and trusted. Now, in this case, I have more than one line. I have like 3-4 lines in it talking about loan, Michelle, and the phrase what it pertains to, because why would I talk about Michelle? Because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And this phrase is in a story too, in a file. So when I open it, okay, I know what it's about. Like I said, it's for me only. It's for my eyes only, nobody else's. So that's why you can put whatever you want in it. Okay. Now, how many steps should the story have? As many as you need to get to deliver your message. Don't make it 9 minutes because you don't have 9 minutes. But a good story will be 2-3 minutes, maybe a minute and a half, maybe 1 minute. Depends on the story, depends on the message. Okay. There are many different techniques. Like you can stop a story in the middle, then continue. We don't even have time for it here. It's a whole workshop about storytelling. Okay. And there are more elements. And in my workshops, I actually teach how to create a story on the fly. There is a handout and the whole technique, how to create a story on the fly. Any story, anytime, anywhere. If you want to know, maybe I intend to apply for the presenter, for a workshop presenter to the conference. So if they pick me, there is audition. If they pick me, you can join my workshop and we'll talk about storytelling in more details. But in a nutshell, that's what it is. And put everything in a file. See, don't edit. Don't edit. That's the problem. One of the biggest problems I notice people have, everybody, no exception. We devalue our own experiences. We're our worst critics. worst, okay? But now in my other life, I'm a driving instructor in Brooklyn, New York. I had probably close to 1,000 students. And I can tell you that 99% of them don't believe that they can drive. They don't. Even after they learn to drive, they still don't believe it. Just today, I had a gentleman. He had a license from Soviet Union, from Ukraine. Okay, for 30 years he's behind the wheel. He says, "I don't know if I'm going to pass the test." I said, "What are you talking about? Are you kidding me?" No, I'm so nervous. What are you nervous about? You're 30 years behind the wheel. You're nervous about? Well, I don't know what I'm. Okay, just calm down. Let's practice for half an hour. Of course he passed. You kidding me? Guy knows in and out, inside out how to drive. It's nothing. But right here, he was nervous. He wasn't sure. He didn't know. And it's just one example. And I'm telling you, everybody, we all devalue our own experiences, including yours truly. So, okay, well, what's the big deal? I mean, I live an ordinary life. I'm an ordinary man. I have, no. Nobody's ordinary. Nobody's ordinary. We're all extraordinary. We all have extraordinary lives. You, everybody, me, everybody has extraordinary, because we're extraordinary people. And that's the way it has to be, right here and here, right here. In your mind and in your heart, we are extraordinary people. We can do anything we want if we put our minds to it. A magnificent thing, mind. But mind that believes that it can. So don't tell yourself, I cannot do that. Ask yourself, how can I do that?
Thank you very much, Isaac.
That is perfect. That is a perfect ending to this wonderful talk that you have delivered. Thank you so much, Isaac. And we do appreciate your presence. We appreciate your experience and teaching us about storytelling, and to use those what ifs. Or what if I mess up in a story? But what if I don't mess up in the story? You know, what if I want to use humor and I bomb? What if I use humor and I'm successful? Right? So you answered all of those questions beautifully. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to turn the meeting over to our table topics master, Cindy Wilson.
Hi, fellow Toastmasters. Now, what I have is a series of questions, but I've also put them all your names in the wheelofnames.com. So it'll give us an opportunity to either volunteer you, volunteer you, or just pick you as one of those. So if you don't mind, if you want to use the wheel of names, we can. If you'd rather just volunteer, get it over and done with, we could do that first. Okay, why don't we try that first? See who volunteers, so I don't have to volunteer anyone. Hands up. But Dwana, Toastmaster Dwana Barnes. Here is your selections. There are 7 questions. Which one from 1 to 7 would you like to answer?
7.
Number 7 says, what makes you rich? What makes you rich?
Toastmasters. And guess. I ponder this question often because it seems like I went most of my life living paycheck to paycheck. And lately I haven't had to do that. And I feel rich. I feel rich. But I gotta honestly say that it was rich being able to survive paycheck to paycheck. It was rich knowing that if I lost my house or if I had to move back to Indiana or whatever, I had a place to go. I had family. If I needed to make a phone call, my family would roll out and come and get me and take care of me. All I had to do was make a phone call. So I'm rich in that I'm loved. And I also feel rich because I think I have a pretty good sense of humor and I can
spin a good yarn if needed. And I think that is something that is, it was taught because I've been a Toastmaster since 2011. So I'm on my 11th year as a Toastmaster, but I also have it in me as well. So I feel very rich in that I have a good sense of humor and I can spin a good yarn and that I am loved. Thank you, Toastmasters and guests.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Dwana Barnes.
So Cindy, I'm going to set my timer.
I was like, okay, who's the timer?
That's okay.
Okay,
I'll go longer than 2 minutes, did I? I didn't go longer.
No, you didn't go over, definitely not.
You're
Okay.
fine, you're fine.
Okay.
Okay,
Because I
Isaac,
can't talk for like 20 minutes.
we know she can talk for 20, 30 if you're.
Okay, so I got it. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, all right, next is, I see Isaac's hand
I
up.
have to bow out. I have to bow
Okay.
out because I have to read your 9 call. Thanks, bye.
Okay,
everyone.
take
Okay.
care. Bye-bye. Isaac,
Just a comment,
yes.
just a little comment. Dwana said, I think I have a good sense of humor. How about saying, I know I have a good sense of humor? Yes,
Definitely.
so, Toastmaster, the table topic question, please.
Okay, 1 through 6. Pick a number.
Three.
3. 3 sets. Where did you see your most interesting sunset? Why was it so? Where did you see your most interesting sunset? Why was it so?
Hawaii. In Hawaii, an island of Kauai. And it was the most wonderful and unbelievable. And I had the most wonderful and unbelievable person next to me, my wife. And we were watching it together. And it made it so much more wonderful and unbelievable. The colors were, I cannot even describe it. I cannot even repeat it. It's, well, it's like, I don't know, it's a palette of colors, all colors in the world. I don't even know the colors that I saw in the sky. I cannot even name them because it's not like red, white. No, it's it's a combination of them. And that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who's next?
Me, I'll
Okay,
take it.
Beverly, here we go. I'll get Beverly first and then Nancy, okay? All right, Beverly, any one, not 7 or 3.
Number 4.
Number 4. Who inspires you? Who inspires you?
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The person who inspires me is Linda Sue Howard, my mother. One thing I love about my mother is that she taught me to be an independent, strong woman that I am today. Growing up, we always had my stepfather, he was sick, and my mother always found a way to make things happen. Whenever something needs to be done, say you need to put a air conditioner in the window, Linda Sue is going to put that in the window. If you need to have the toilet unstopped, Linda Sue is going to do that. I learned from my mother to do that very same thing. So many people ask me, my ex-boyfriends, they would ask me, well, Bev, who helped you do that? I'm like, I'm Linda Sue's daughter. What do you mean? I did it myself. And then I have to remind my sisters that we have 5 girls in my family. And I have to remind my younger 2 sisters, aren't you Linda Sue's daughter? Why are you going someplace else to get something done? Mama taught us how to get things done. And that's one thing that I love about her. And the one thing that she taught me, and I don't think she remembers, she taught me that you should never start anything you don't want to finish. And I use that on a daily basis. So when someone comes to me, if a new relationship comes, If I'm not that person that's going to be cooking for you on a daily basis, I'm not going to start cooking. So you need to have that in your head that Bev is not going to start anything that she's not going to finish. So that's what I love about my mother. There's so many different things that she taught me, but she is the one who inspires me the very most. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely excellent. So next is Nancy. Nancy, any number but 3, 4, and 7.
Number 1.
Number 1. If you didn't have the job you have now, what would you do? If you didn't have the job you have now, what would you do?
I would be singing. I would be acting and using those abilities to inspire and to encourage and to excite a vision in other people to not give up, that they can do it. I would be probably also playing the piano. It's something that I've wanted to do. That would be something that I would be doing. When I was a little girl, when all of my friends would be playing with their dolls or, you know, doing whatever little girls do, I was in the mirror. I was in the mirror singing. I was in the mirror talking to myself. I had my stage name and I was trying to figure that out. Was it going to be my middle name, just Lynn, you know, a single name, or what was it going to be? So I always felt that I felt comfortable on stage and felt comfortable in front of people and loving to encourage and excite a vision within them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, how's our timing, Madam Toastmaster? We're good? You're on mute, Margarita.
It's 8:25, so we could have time for one more.
Okay, who'd like to take our last table topic?
I'll do it.
Okay,
Maybe
Cindy.
with a Y.
With the Y. It's either 2, 5, or 6.
6.
6. This is an interesting question.
Ooh.
I'm going to ask you why. This is an interesting question. I'm going to ask you why.
Good evening, Madam Toastmaster and friends and guests. Why? Very interesting word, why. Why are we gifted with a new day? Why do we have to work? Why do we smile when our hearts are broken? Why is a wonderful, wonderful word. It's a word that allows us to think about what God has given us and why he's given us that, why we don't have the things in life we believe we should. That's a great word because we're constantly thinking and wondering and pondering on the possibilities based on a word, why. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. That was a tough one.
I tell you, that is one of the hardest ones I've ever done before. And G2 has heard this list before. We had done this at Gold Coast. So I didn't get a chance to ask G2 that if Isaak Gelbinovich was his uncle, what would he ask him? So back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Cindy, for your wonderful questions, and thank you all of you that answered those questions. It's in table topics. I call it the pedal to the metal part of the meeting because you have to constantly think on top of your feet, right? So thank you so much, Cindy. We do appreciate your serving as table topics master. And now I will turn over the meeting to our president, Nancy Rogers.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Isaak. This has been amazing. Now I can understand why everyone kept talking about, oh, wait till you hear Isaak, wait till you hear Isaak. So I'm honored to have been a recipient of your gift and what you shared with us. I walked away without a lot tonight. I really appreciate, you starting with, thinking about moving forward versus going back to normal. And I really appreciate the thought process, and we just got to go. We have to move forward. This is where we are right now. We have to make the best of the situation that we're in. We can't stay stuck and stagnant. Life is going to go on. That's what I walked away with. Life is going to go on with or without us, with or without us being prepared. And do we want to stay there holding an empty bag? Or do we want to have our bag filled so that not only is it filled for us, but it's filled for us to disperse it to other people? So that's what I walked away with. And I so appreciate you sharing your gift and the realization of the possibilities that are before us, if only we put our hands to the plow and keep moving forward. And I really, that really is very, very encouraging. I'd like to also thank everyone for coming tonight. We can't have a meeting unless we're all here, right? So even if it's 2 people, we can still have a meeting, yes, but it's so much better when we can get the energy from each other as best as we can during this virtual time that we're in. I'm grateful that we can still yet feel the concern and appreciation and love for each other through the airwaves. This is not the best scenario, but it is what we have, and we can still feed off of that. It's a good thing. It really is a good thing that we have. We're blessed. We're blessed to have this opportunity and to have Wi-Fi and to have computers and to have the beautiful smiles that we get to see week in and week out. I'm very grateful for that. I don't know if there's any announcements or if anybody wants to share anything. I don't think we have any newbies here, but if anybody wants to share anything, I believe that would be an okay thing to do.
I'd like to take a picture of the whole group because Dwana had to leave. So I'm doing this for our PRM so that she could then post it on the social media channels. So Lorraine, if possible, if you could turn on your camera, Shawnette and Glennis, is it Gladys or Glennis? Gladys Bond. If you could turn on your cameras, if you can, I would love to take a picture of all of us together. Are they there? Okay. Anyway, so we'll do it with what we have with that. So everybody smile. Saga could take the picture. Okay. Everybody. Yay. Isaac, raise those hands. There you go. Okay, let me make sure that I got that. Okay. Oh, I said, I have to stop the recording to take the picture. Wait.